All right, so I just feel like the Lord wanted me to speak on this. I don't really do the YouTube thing too much or post videos too much, but it's interesting because I was listening to Leviticus this morning, and I just couldn't help but keep thinking about the rapture, like just like when you listen to Leviticus, like when they just talk about the offerings, like the sin offering, the burnt offering, peace offerings, and just like after the sacrifice, they eat the clean and discard like the impure and all that. So I just feel like, man, the whole Old Testament just refers to that a lot. If you just pay attention to it. I can't remember. I was going to say another part in the Old Testament was making me think of that. But yeah, one thing I was going to say was the video that I felt like the topic that I felt like the Lord wanted me to discuss was for those that keep returning back to their sin and keep backsliding. And this is through my personal experience, because everything with like the Bible and being a new Christian, it's really, for me, it's about trial and error, because people can tell you things, you can listen to pastors and preachers, and you can read the Bible, but developing that relationship with the Lord really is the trial and error, like going through the motions, and how to recognize these demons that are inhabiting your body, inhabiting my body, inhabiting my vessel, that are living in my house. Or since the temple is for the Holy Spirit, the Lord's temple, So one thing too, like I notice the attacks, right? I notice when I wake up, the attacks start to happen, right? As soon as I start my day. I also notice it anywhere between 4 to 6 o'clock, it gets real heavy. Like when people start getting off of work, rush hour traffic, and I think just feel really when anybody gets off work. Sometimes people get off work later, like they work second shift, so you can kind of notice it when you come home, right? And those could be different types of attacks, like like if you've been in the Word all day, like, oh, well, now it's time for some R&R, I want to watch a movie. That could be a subtle way that the enemy is trying to get you to open the door, right? Because our eyes, our ears, these are like portals, right? So we have to be careful what we watch and what we listen to. And we always hear the thoughts, it's okay, you can do this, you've earned it, or you've been studying the Word all day, you can take a break, you can do this. That's because the enemy doesn't always hammer you and attack you heavily. Like sometimes it's very sneakily and cleverly, to try to ease in there, the reassuring type of voices that you hear, But it's interesting too, because I forget what I was listening to. I know it was a Peniel Gandhi's YouTube channel. He had this video, it was from like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was like a 3-hour video, 3.5 hour video, something like that. I couldn't even get through the whole thing. Actually, I tried to download it and it timed out on me. But they was just saying like it was a testimony from an ex-Satanist, and he was basically saying like when these demons that are inhabiting your body, they do get you to sin. Sometimes you don't notice, like you don't really get the pleasure out of it, right? Like whether it's smoking or drinking or having sex, fornicating or whatever, you kind of don't really get that pleasure. It's because that demon is receiving that pleasure from that sin, right? And so that could kind of lead to an addictive behavior, right? And I've seen it over and over, right? Because I used to sell drugs and used to be a drug addict. And so, it's like, oh, this was a bad batch, man. I got scammed. And then like the drug dealer's like, nah, this is good stuff. You're probably just building up a tolerance to it or something like that, So, and then and then the demon can get in and start to play with you that way. So, yeah, we just have to hold on real quick. 1 second. But yeah, so the demon could play with you that way, and really that could lead into other situations, right? Because then you start an argument with your plug, your supplier or whatever, and then kid came out the house dancing. I feel you. I ain't mad at you. But sometimes I just end up in areas that I'm like completely unfamiliar with. But so my bad, y'all. But yeah, so basically what I was saying is that so one way that you can really tell, is these demons, like I said, sometimes it's clever, it's sneakily, right? And I usually notice that when it gets like that, like when I kind of notice like the baiting, the patience, the type of fishing, I would say, like I don't fish, but I could just imagine that when people go fishing, that you're taking some time to prepare, you're getting all your bait and tackle and whatever the accessories or the items that go along with fishing. You're like getting that all prepared. Maybe you got like a packed lunch, you're putting it in the boat, and like, it takes some time to prepare all these things. And maybe even the night before you're thinking about it, right? So I know these demons at night, that's why it's important, like, to stay constantly praying, because the enemy's looking for openings. And look, since I was young, I always had this ability where I could see orbs, like the orbs of light, and then I could see the black, shadowy, I could actually see them like in my peripheral, like the demons, the little demonic. I don't see like actual features. I just see like a black shadows, right? But then sometimes I just see like black wisps or like black particles or dots. And this is spiritual vision, spiritual eyesight, right? I'm guessing. I mean, when I remember getting it, actually I started noticing all this after I got baptized. And I even went to the doctor, and I was trying to tell the doctor, like, what is it? And he's like, oh, those are floaties, but you don't really get that until your your golden years, until you're like older, And I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm like, I'm seeing it, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm seeing all these things. And so yeah, that was funny. But anyways, it's just been a lifelong walk, and like it's like now that I look back at everything, I see how God really was there every step of the way, guiding me, and that's how it is in life, right? Because we don't notice it early on, right? But once you should learn the things that you're supposed to learn from the Bible and fellowship and listening to other Christians and their walk and their journey, then things begin to get revealed to you. Like, I was like, okay, I was thinking, and this is one thing too I noticed with God. Like, God pretty much answers you as soon as you have the thought, right? It's almost like soon as you're thinking the thought, the answer's there. That's one way I've noticed with God, right? And God doesn't have to repeat himself. He's God. He says it, that's what it is. There's no second guessing. He's God. So that's the answer, right? And that's like some people are like, well, how can you tell the voice? Like the voice is like if it's demonic, if it's you, right? Because they say you have the voices of the enemy, the voices of the world, your type of thinking, and then God's voice, or like your guardian angels and stuff like that, right? So that's one way, because I know usually if I ask a question, it's usually there immediately. Or sometimes I don't feel like I was perceptive of it, and sometimes I don't feel like God does answer you right away. Sometimes it's like you have to wait. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was listening to Patrick Winfrey a little bit today, and he was talking about how some people get healed. Like, some people can get healed instantaneously. Some people get healed in minutes, hours, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. And there could be a lot of other factors, like did they forgive everybody? Like, so yeah, I mean it's a journey, but I really do feel like the more that you draw close to the Lord, and what is drawing close to the Lord? Drawing close to the Lord really simply is reading His Word and staying in His Word. Every day you try to start your day off with it. You know what I mean? Of course, like you get distracted and you kind of gravitate away from it, but ultimately keep trying to go back to it. It's a fight. You have to keep fighting for it, and yeah, I mean it's not easy, it's we're born into this battle. Sometimes I just notice people start following me. They like ride my bumper. I don't even think that they're consciously aware of it, but they just do it. Like, it's just they're on autopilot or something. But like, another thing I noticed too is like I'll speed up. Like if I catch them riding my bumper, the bumper humpers, you know what I'm saying? They call them bumper humpers. But if I catch them like ride my bumper, I'll speed up, and I'll go like 20, 30, 40 miles faster to try to get away from them, and then they'll speed up too just to continue to keep riding my bumper. And sometimes I'll stop or I'll pull over and I'll just stare at them, and they're like, they don't even realize they're doing it. It's just like, I feel like they just need to stay close to people for some reason. I don't know. My ex-wife used to drive like that, and it drove me crazy. Like, I'd always have to drive because I couldn't stand driving, like riding with her, because people would brake check her all the time. So she's always like slamming on the brakes because she's riding people's bumpers. And I'd be like, why do you do that? And she didn't even know why she did it. You know what I mean? She just did it. But anyway, we gotta stay in the Word. It is a constant fight. And, oh yeah, what I was going to say earlier is, so yeah, I noticed like usually when you have like a demon on you, like if you open a portal, a doorway, I meant to say, so if I see a woman and I'm like, oh man, she's attractive, okay, so I try to tell myself, no second glances. Okay, yeah, I noticed it once on accident because I had to look left because I was turning left or whatever, but I'm not going to look back at her, right? And I'm single, so this is tough because, like, when I was married, I was kind of in that mind frame. So I've been single since the end of 2016. It's 2021, so we're talking like 4 years, something like that. But so like that whole first year, it was tough because I was still in that mind frame, and she was having time of her life, like sleeping with all kinds of dudes probably. I know that she dated a couple guys for sure, but God was dealing with me, and then I was dealing with my dad. He was dying from brain cancer, so I wasn't thinking about what she was thinking about, because I remember right before we divorced, she was like, you're not passionate with me no more. You used to be so passionate, and like, I don't know, I don't want to get into like the sexual stuff like that or whatever, you know what I mean? But I was drawing close to the Lord, and like the more that you draw close to the Lord, the more that you start to see everybody like brothers and sisters, women like sisters, and it's weird, right? Because it's like, that's my wife, but it's like, I don't know, like, it could be, maybe because you're in a relationship so long, so I was in a relationship with her. I met her when I was 24, and and we split up when, 4 years ago. I know I split up with her when I was 37. So I'm 42 now. So, but I was turning 38 that next month. 2 months after that, after we split up. We split up in November. So December, January. January I turned 38. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that whole year, like after divorce, I was just like still in the mind frame. So I wasn't really like, thinking like that. And then I started getting like and felt like, oh man, I'm getting older. I'm aging. I'm becoming ugly. Nobody's gonna want me. So you just get all these thoughts like, I don't have a family. I don't have kids. And so then I started getting like this impatient feeling like I need to find a woman. I need to find a woman. I need to have some kids. I need to start a family. And she was already doing her thing. So yeah, I met this girl. She did get pregnant. She said it was my kid. I went to the hospital. Couldn't really tell if it was my kid. The nurse came in and asked me if I was going to sign a birth certificate. And I'm like, can we get the DNA test? She said, we don't do that here. You have to do that outside of here. But they somehow pressured her into doing, or she just did it. So she did the birth certificate without me, which, I guess that was the right thing to do because I didn't know if it was actually my child. She said it was, but, she was also, I think had already had kids with some other guys, so it was tough to figure all that out. So the goal was to get the DNA test. Never could get it done. She ended up giving the son up for adoption to her aunt, and she got locked up. So while she was in jail, I tracked her grandmother down, went over there, brought like a birthday gift for my alleged son, and asked if I could see him. They wouldn't let me see him, and they said he's doing fine without you. He doesn't need you. And I'm like, I just want to get a DNA. They just completely shut me down, and that hurt. Like I remember crying and being stressed out about that. You know what I mean? Because I actually got to hold the baby and spend some time with him, and but the mom was on drugs, and I don't know. But I feel like God did give me a dream where I think I was in heaven, and it was like around Christmas time or something, and I had my son with me, and my pug that had died was there too, and I had like a small apartment in heaven, so I didn't have no mansion, so that probably lets you know where I'm at in my walk with the Lord. But hey, I've heard other people say, man, I don't care. I don't need a house. Just as long as I make it to heaven, it's good. And I feel the same way. Like, I'll sleep outside under a tree or something. But anyway, I got to go. I got stuff to do. But yeah, you can recognize the demons are impatient. They're always rushing you, hammering you, trying to get you to do something. And it's just hard to get it off. And what I do is I just repeat things in my head. I plead the blood of Jesus on my mind, plead the blood of Jesus on my mind. It's all about the art of distraction and distracting your mind and keeping your mind focused on the word of God and the things that are not sinful and of the devil. All right, peace.